Hey everyone, what's up? Good to have you all. Just admitting everyone. Cool. We'll begin our game development masterclass in 2 minutes. Before that, let's wait for other people to join in. So, where are you from, everyone? I am from Navi Mumbai. You can type in the chat where are you from. Okay, coming. There is chat screen. You can type chat messages there if you wanna ask anything or talk about your where you from and everything. Cool, cool. We are already 20 members up. Let's wait for a few more members to join in. So Rohit is from Bangalore. Nice. Kolkata. Vadodara. I visited last year Vadodara. Loved the city and food. I am so pumped too as well, Rahul. Amroha. Where is Amroha? Is it in Karnataka? We are 30 members up. Cool, cool. We'll begin our game development master class within few minutes. Just waiting for other people to join in so they also don't miss out on the value lessons. Admitting all 40 members up. So good morning, Wangela Sana. So Sabil is from UP. From UP, where are you from? Newton.
R-
Yo.
Rajasthan.
Okay, Rajasthan. Nice.
Yes, sir.
Amroha in UP. Cool, cool. No sound. You can't hear me? Oppo. Wangela, me from Assam. Cool. Can't hear your voice. You can't hear me? Can anyone type if you can hear me or not?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, cool. Thanks. So Sunny is from Mumbai, Lucknow. So we are over 50 members now. Admitting all. Just waiting for a few more minutes so everyone gets in. Last time I missed out on a lot of people, so they were complaining like, sir, you didn't accept me. So yeah, let's wait for a few more people so they get in. Then we can begin our Unity game development masterclass. From beginner to advanced, we will go through some of the stuffs that is important to learn in game development and programming and other things we will talk about. Cool, cool. Loud and clear. Thanks, Sunny. So Realme is from Kanpur. Okay, I thought Realme is from China. All right. Arkit, can I record? Yep. Thanks for reminding. I think recording is already started in Zoom if I'm not wrong. Yeah, it's already started, so you don't have to record. It will echo my voice as well if you start recording. So it's fine. I will share with you. Who is attended this webinar will get the free recording. So don't worry. Manoj Nath, can't hear your voice. Yeah, you can maybe increase sound of your headset something. Good morning, Said. So Rajeshwaram is from Tamil Nadu. Good to have people from South. Nice. Where will we? I will share with you link after the webinar. So it will be on my website. So you can get it from there. Thanks, Satya. MSI can't hear everyone. Okay, can't listen voice. Any issue? Shaul Sheikh, cool. Okay, all right. So we are over 50 members now. So I think we can begin now. And meantime, we can accept as people start to get in. Cool. Let me stop the video so you can focus on the material instead of on me. Slide presentations. Cool. Can everyone see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, so welcome to Game Development Masterclass. I'm Durvesh, and if you stay till end, then I will give you exclusive access to cheat sheet that will help you get job or internship in game development field. So that cheat sheet will have a step-by-step guide on how to enter into the game development field. It's just a perk to stay till the end. So about me, who am I? So I have more than 7 years of experience in game development. I started back in 2013 with a few games, and there from my journey started. Some of games over the years, some of my games have been featured by Google Play Store and App Store as well on their homepage and indie section, etc. And currently, I run my game development studio, Greenlight Studios, which has over 15 employees, and we have several games live on the Play Store and App Store. So this was my first game which I developed in 2013. It was developed in the Android native. It was a quiz game, and yeah, it was quite good. I was in second year back then, and it was generating 6,000 to 7,000 per month, and that's how I started my game development journey, and it was quite helpful. Stop annotating. Where is it? Okay, disable attendee annotation. Cool. So this was my dream game. After my quiz game and after I graduated in 2014, I started like every other indie game developer. I started with my dream game instead of going for small games. I was like, let's build some big game and just release that and settle life. And that's how I started my big game development. Big game, and this was the trailer of that game. Let me play it.
Name of the game, sir?
So it was bike racing transports.
Oh,
So it was developed way back 4 or 5 years ago. So it has
Uh,
a quite a different types of things which was never before there in the bike racing games, like police dogs, and then the aeroplanes, and then crushing the cars and getting transformation, etc., etc., like delivering parcel from A to B place. Then helicopter was there which we need to transport,
where we
etc.
found it, sir?
So it's not currently live. We took this. So this is the lessons. This was the one lesson I learned, which I will go through after the master class. At the
Okay,
end
sir.
of the master class, so yeah, so this game took over 2.5 years to develop, and we added all the features like what every big dream game could have. And I will share lessons after some time. Before that, yeah, and this is my current game development studio, Greenlight Studios. You can find multiple games we recently developed on the Play Store. And now coming to the meat of the masterclass, how to build your first game without even knowing everything. So the secret one, we will go through is how to make game in Unity 3D with C Sharp, even if you never used it before. The secret two we will attend is 7 things I learned from the last 7 years that can help you fast track your journey. And secret number three, one of the biggest mistakes every game developer do, I also did, and how you can avoid that so you don't have to go through all the things every other game developers do at start of their career. Let me clear the annotations. Cool. So let's get into the secret number one. So secret number how to make game in Unity 3D with C Sharp, even if you never used it before. So there are multiple game engines, Unreal, Unity 3D, Game Maker, and hundreds of other game engines are out there. But most of the companies, including our company, prefer Unity 3D because of ease of use and uh, cross-platform development. Like if you look at the Pokemon Go game, it was developed in the Unity 3D. Then if you look at the Assassin's Creed, it was developed in the Unity 3D. So there are hundreds of other games and studios in the India and all over the world which uses Unity 3D. So we will learn Unity 3D, and you can develop any other game, any type of game or any dream game of yours using Unity 3D. You don't have to learn multiple game engines or programming languages to do so. So yeah, let's begin. What is Unity 3D and what is C Sharp? Then we will go to the secret two. Let me share the screen so you can see other things as well. So we have 80 people so far, West Bengal, cool. So yeah, so first let's get from the how to download Unity 3D. So a lot of people ask me question like how to download Unity 3D, or is it free or paid, etc. So let's answer that once for all. So to download the Unity 3D, you can go to the unity3d.com. Unity3d.com, it's their official site. And then there is Get Started button here. You can click that, you can read all the features of Unity, but let's click on the Get Started button. And then you will present it with this priced plans, etc. And there is no free options. But if you click on this individual option, there is one tab individual, then it will show you free. And the free plan has everything, no limit to what features there is. If completely every feature is free in Unity, you just need to click on personal and click on get started. So it's for indie developments plan, and then click on start here first time users. If you are first time user, or if you already have account, you can click go here. Then once you click press here, click agree and download. Then the Unity file will start to download. Once you download, double click that, and then you will get presented with this Unity Hub screen. Let me accept a few people. Okay. So yeah, this Unity Hub screen will get opened up. So there are multiple four options. There is one projects option which will showcase all the your existing projects on your game, on your desktop or Mac. Then there is learn option where there is documentation and all other things what Unity can do. You can learn from their official sites. Then there is community. You can connect with your fellow members, or you can ask answers or questions everyone. Then there is installs options. On the installs, you can install Unity versions, etc. If you currently, it will give from official side, it will give you latest version. If you want to install older versions for particular reasons, you can click on add. Or if you want to support, so you are currently on Android, so you are developing for Android, but in future you go to the Mac and you want to develop for iOS as well, then you can click here and then select the packages module like iOS build platform, or if you want to build for Play Store, PlayStation, you can do that, or you can want to build for WebGL websites, etc. You can do all. So PlayStation is inbuilt into, you don't have to download separately. Now coming to the projects, you can click. Once you go to the projects, you can click on new or add. Add is like for adding existing project, but if you click on the new button, it will show up one more panel. There are 2D, 3D, and high definition and universal render pipeline. Those four templates are there. You can select any, and you can then from the Unity project setting, you can change from 2D to 3D and vice versa, etc. So currently we will select 3D game, and you can type any name of you want for the project name, and then hit the create button. And then once you hit create button, it will take few moments and it will open up this screen. So this is inside the Unity. We are currently inside the Unity, and this is the panel. You will see the Windows might be like the here is hierarchy panel. It might be somewhere else, but particularly these are the default setting, default view of Unity 3D. On left side there is scene. So what scene does is, so scene is like editing platform, like on Play Store. If you look at the Photoshop or the Maya, then there is editing, like you can edit images or edit the models. Same like in the Unity, scene is for the editing. Whatever stuff you want to edit for your game, you can edit from scenes. Then on the right side there is hierarchy. Let me accept. Cool. So right side there is hierarchy. So hierarchy and scenes are connected to each other. If you look at the scene, there is one camera. And if you look at the hierarchy, so what is scene is like giving you the GUI visual presentation of what's inside the scene and what you will see on your Android phone or iOS phone. And the hierarchy is for the scenes as in like you can, if you want to click a camera, you can click here, or from the hierarchy you can scroll through whatever item you want to select and you can manipulate it. So now let's if you want to add suppose ball in the your game scene, or if you want to add any objects on your scene to edit, you can right click on that, and there are multiple options which Unity gives, like 3D objects, 2D objects, effects, Unity canvas, you can add UI objects, etc. But before that, let's look at the game scene. There is one panel, game scene. So what is the difference between game and the scene, normal scene? So, so the game scene is like whatever you want to edit, you will edit from the scene, and the game window shows how it will look on your mobile, iOS, or whatever platform you are developing for. So this is the scene where you will edit, and the game scene is just for, you can't click any object here. It is just a representation of like emulator. You can see like Android emulator. It's a emulator for Unity to see how your game will look on actual device or any other platform. Now, suppose we want to add the ball on your scene. So you can right click on hierarchy. You can't right click on here on the scene. You need to right click on the C hierarchy, or on there is top side, there is a menu options. You can click on the game objects. So whatever inside the scene is a game object. So anything, camera is game object, your 3D object is game object, your 2D objects are game object. Anything you add onto the scene or game is a game object. Now, yeah, if you want to add ball, you can click on 3D object. There are built-in options in the Unity like sphere, capsule, cube. Cube is like square. So if you want to add ball, you will click on sphere. Now you see the scene is having a sphere, but on if you look at the game view, there is no sphere. You are not able to look into the sphere like where is sphere. So to yeah, there are options in the scene, and what game view shows you is the what camera sees. So if you look at the hierarchy window, there is main camera, and what main camera does is it shows everything that is inside the field of your camera into the game scene. So now yeah, there are if take it little bit back, you will able to see the sphere into the game. But what are these options, like what is this upside, what is this blue, and what is red? So to move so this is the transform tool. So whatever in the Unity, you can move X, Y, Z direction, 3D directions, and you can rotate anything, etc. But what is currently this position of camera? You can't see it. So to see that, you need to click on this new other inspector, that is the other panel, that is inspector. So far we look at the scene, what scene edits the things, like you can whatever you want to edit in this your mobile game or Android game or any other game, you will edit in the scene. The game view shows whatever you edited, how it will look on the mobile or whatever console you are developing for. The hierarchy shows list of all the objects from the scene, and the inspector shows what all its game objects property. So whatever in the scene is game object, and that inspector shows that game objects properties. So currently we look, if you select the main camera, there is components like transform, then camera, and the audio listener. So what is the best thing about Unity is it's a component based system. Okay. Admit. Okay. So whatever the best thing about Unity is like component based system. So you what you can do is like pick up anything from any other object and put it in the another object. So for example, this is the component camera. Now this is the main camera. This name doesn't matter what it is. But if you want to move this camera to suppose sphere should be camera here instead of main camera, then what you can do is like you can remove this component from this camera and take it to, and if you remove the camera, then there is no camera option in the game scene. So game will show no cameras rendering. So on your device as well, it will show no black screen. But now if you want to add camera onto your sphere, you can click on the sphere, then add component camera. Now again, if you see the camera game render started to showing something, but it's not showing up your sphere because the camera is inside the sphere and you can't see yourself from that camera. So what if you want to add it in directional light, you can add component camera. So that's the what I wanted to show is like Unity is component based system, and you can move any other objects from any other game objects and use it plug and play. So that's the one best thing about Unity. Let's add it back to the main camera. So the name doesn't matter, you can change the name of it. Then this is the transform component. So you see these triangles like blue line, then green line, and the red line. So this is basically whatever is here, it's showing representing there. So you can move your blue like z axis from here, or you can change your values from here. You can type like 10 or minus 10, or minus 20, whatever you want to add, you can add edit it like xyz. You can change the x direction, y direction. Now suppose we want to move it a bit up, and now we want to look so camera is currently looking ahead of the sphere, but it's so that's why it's not showing up. And if you look at the here, open up this, you can see the field of view Unity is showing this white line. So whatever is this white line, the Unity is rendering in the game scene. Now you see the sphere is little bit below that white line, so it's not rendering. And so what we need to do is to rotate this camera so the sphere starts to see. So how we can rotate is, first thing is we can rotate from here x direction. So this blue is z line, so this is the z line. We want to rotate the x line so it start to look down. So now if we rotate this, it will start to see below. But there is other option. Instead of doing this changing values, you can see on the left side top side there are some tools. So currently selected tool is move tool. That's why we able to move the camera. But what we want to do is we want to rotate this camera game object camera. So to do that, there is next to that there is rotate tool. So you can select that, and then the representation will change, and you can then rotate this camera from scene on itself. Now again, you want to move this camera a little bit ahead. Like suppose we have this and you want to move that below, means take it back. So how you can do is, again you can go back to this tool, but it's quite time consuming, like going back and forth. So there is one more option in Unity, second last option, that is move rotate scale. So if you select that, then you will see that you can now rotate as well, and you can take it back as well. So now you can do whatever you want to do with this camera or this game object. So now let's set this value to 0 from inspector, and camera little bit below, and this. Now what next we want to do is, so say suppose you want to use this actual, make it a actual ball. So ball will fall onto the plane or ground and it will bounce from there. So how to do that? So it's quite easy to do in the Unity. Let's accept few people before that. Accept all. Okay, so now how to create a ground? So to create a ground, you can right click on the Unity, this hierarchy, or you can select this game object, 3D object, and there is plane option. So if you select plane, it showed up this plane onto the scene and as well as the game, because camera is actually rendering that plane because it's under that field of view. Now if you want to take what we want to do is ball should fall onto this ground. So we want this ground to be the way below the ball, so it start to fall. So how you can do is, like you can take it a bit down and you can take it ahead. So that way it's now ball can bounce and fall onto that ground. Now there is option on Unity how to emulate how it will look on the device. So there is play option. So if you click on the play, Unity will take some time and then it will load the game. And this is exactly how your game will look on your device, Android or iOS or any other device. Now you see the ball is not falling onto the ground. So why? Because the ball is doesn't have any other movement or rotation. What is Newton's third law or second law, whatever that law is? The object should move when there is gravity or whatever is fetching that ball. If you are in the universe, there is no force, so you will be like ball and will stable onto the universe by going into any direction you already were in. But if you want to add make it fall onto the ground, the this should have a gravity. So this ball should have a gravity, so it should fall onto the ground or whatever position is that. So how to add gravity to this ball? So to add the gravity, what you just need to do is click on the add component and type rigid body. So what is rigid body? So rigid body is the any movable object which is onto the game, which you can move or do anything with the physics. You will add rigid body components. So it is a component which you can add and it is a built-in, so you don't have to code anything to fall that ball onto the ground or also make it bounce. So what rigid body did is it added the gravity and ball started to fall down. Now suppose we stop this game and we again add, because once we stop and if we add any other objects or component in this Unity scene while game is playing, then the game that objects will get removed because it's just in we added in the play scene. Now we stop the game, and now if we add the rigid body, the ball will not fall on the, because game is paused, so we need to hit play to make it fall. But now suppose there is use gravity option, is kinematic option, there is mass, you can change the ball mass, like if you want to make it 100 you can make 100, etc. Now suppose we hit the plane. Now if let's remove this collider, there is one component sphere collider. What it do is, let's see what it actually does is, now if we hit the play button, we remove the sphere collider. So now when we play, the ball started to fall, but it doesn't stop on that plane. Why? Because it's if there is no collider, like physics object do not know this ball and this plane didn't know that ball fall through that plane. So to make that realize, like making physics collision or any object collide with any other object, we need to have any other sphere collider, any type of collider like sphere collider. So if there is ball, we will add sphere collider. There is box collider, there is capsule collider. There are hundreds of colliders in the Unity which you can add to the game object to match its shape. So because this is sphere, we will add the sphere collider. And what this sphere collider will do is it will tell physics that, hey, I'm actually a physical object. Let me collide with other physical objects. Now, if we add sphere collider, you can see the ball fall into the ground and that ground hold that ball because sphere collider let the physics know that yes, what's up, Ganranj? So to ball yeah, it's a physics ball. So let's stop that from on my ground. So that's what sphere collider and rigid body combination does. It's let other objects collide with each other and do whatever you want to do with the physics. Now on the sphere collider, you see there is each trigger. So if we add the each trigger option, unable, it will start to fall down. So it's just various options you can use in the Unity which are built in. You don't have to create any other custom script for those. Now coming to the how to make the ball bounce. So to make the ball bounce, we need something onto the ball that will make it bounce. Let's create that. Now there is project scene. So we looked at the scene. So what scene does is edit things, whatever you want to edit, you can edit from the scene. There is game scene. We are game scene, game window that will show whatever into the scene onto your device. It's like an emulator. Then there is hierarchy. It will show all the game objects actually presented into your scene. Then there is inspector, which you can update any other components properties from the inspector, like transform camera objects, then sphere, add rigid bodies, physics colliders, etc. You can do from inspector. Then there is projects window. What is project window? So the project window is like a bridge between your third party like your hard drive to your Unity outside world to Unity. Now project window can contain hundreds of outside objects. Like if you want to add the 2D image onto your scene, how to add that from outside? So you will go to the project window, right click on that, and then hit import new asset. Now it will show you one file window. You can select whatever image or anything you want to add, like 3D model or 2D image. Suppose I create one, I select one image like this and hit import. Now my image got showed up onto the right side. Now the image is in the project. Remember, the project scene is everything. It's a bridge between the outside world to the Unity scene. So whatever is in the hierarchy will be in the game window and game scene, but whatever in the project is not in the actually scene or that game. To make it add it in the game, you need to drag this and put it in the hierarchy or onto the scene. But now we added the 2D image, so we need to let Unity know that, hey, it's a unit 2D image, not the 3D object, because we created the template into the 3D. So what we need to do is click on this image, then texture type. There is inspector, again showed all the properties which this particular object has. Then click on the texture type and select sprite 2D. So what sprite is like? Sprite is basically the 2D image. And when you hit apply, now you can drag that object onto the scene and it will start showing up that object. So here is this game object. You can see completely on the game scene window, but on the game window it's like zoomed in. So you can adjust again your camera settings. You can take it back or ahead, or there is other option, field of view onto the camera component. You can change the field of view and it will show like something like racing game. Like you can field of view can increase, decrease. You can make it sniper game, like zoom in this field of view and your sniper type look you can take, or you can just basically take it back and it will start to show you that image in full screen. Now we can again change the properties of image object, same like what we did with the other game objects. You can do like transform, rotation. You can change scale. Scale is like there is this option of scale. You can scale the image size or take it a bit down, or you can scale up. You can do those things with this object. Now Coming to the bounce, how to make that ball bounce. So there is project scene. What we need to do is we need to add something onto the ball that will make it fall. So we'll right click on that project scene and hit on click create. So instead of importing other assets, you can also create like C# script, or you can create materials. You can do hundreds of other things with this create object. And there is one physics material option. So what it will do is it will help you add something bounces, or you can do dynamic friction, etc. things with this physics material. Like we want to do bounce, so we'll hit bounce, and onto the from inspector window we can remove dynamic friction, and then we can increase the bounciness to 1. So the this property is from 0 to 1. Now
हेलो
we,
हेलो
yep,
हेलो सर
yes.
सर आप मैं एक्चुअली मैंने अभी अभी ये मैंने लाइव सेशन मैंने ज्वाइन किया है
Mhm.
ठीक है सर तो बस मैं आपसे इतना पूछना चाहूंगा कि आप अभी मतलब आप हमें अभी क्या सिखा रहे हो
We are going through the game development, so from Unity basics to C# basic, and how game development and Unity combine, you can make games, etc. We are going through. So it's the currently we are
सर
going
आई
through the
थिंक
basics of Unity
आपने
3D.
इससे पहले वाले जो इससे जो पहले वाला हमारा वो हुआ था सेशन हुआ था संडे को जिससे पहले आपने किया था
Mhm.
उसमें भी शायद आपने यही तो बताया था
Yes, so
हाँ
that's why
सर
it's for the new peoples. It's for the if you already went through it, you can go through as a revision, or you can
ओके सर
uh, something like that.
ओके थैंक यू सर
Yep, yep, you're welcome.
ओके
Cool. So how to make this ball bounce? So there are physics material. You
Sir,
we right click on
zoom
the
out, please.
create. What do you saying?
Zoom out.
What to zoom out?
Yeah,
Yeah. So
because it's not completely visible.
yeah, to make that visible, we can take camera back. You can do something like this. We can change the properties, or we can instead scale down that 2D objects. So it just for the reference, we can do whatever we want to do then with that object. Like we can
No, no, no,
scale
sir.
down. Hmm.
Uh, Not about the camera and scene view. I'm talking about the property and inspector. They are not visible.
Okay. So this right side is not visible.
Yeah,
Now you can see.
yes, sir.
Okay, cool. Now, how to create a bounce? So we created one right. We clicked on the right click, created the physics material. What physics material did is it gave us the built-in option to add bounciness to your ball. So we added the bounciness of 1, that is the highest Unity has, 0 to 1. So it's a infinity. Now, if we hit the play button, the ball fall onto the plane, but it didn't bounce. Why? Because we as I said earlier, on the project scene has nothing to do with the game. Whatever is happening in the game, it has nothing to do with the project scene just holds up all the all the game other 3D objects, 2D images, or other C# script, anything you create, it will hold that. But to make it active onto the game window or game scene, you need to add this onto your scene from hierarchy or from the scene. Now we want to make this bounce, so we'll go to this sphere, then scroll down and find sphere collider, and there is material option and it's saying none. Now we need to add this physics material to this sphere collider's material property. So we can drag and drop this, or we can click on this object. Let me mute other people. Mhm. Cool. So click on the sphere, and then there is option of we'll click on this little dot option, and it will show all the physics material available on your project scene. You see assets window that is showing all the objects available in the project scene that you can use for this material. So we created bounce, so it's showing bounce, so you can select that. Now let's stop this scene, and once we stop, it will again reset its property because we edited it in the play window. Now we will again drag and drop there. Now it's stored for that object. We will hit the play button. Now you see if the ball started to bounce. So it bounced and stayed onto the ground. Now let's increase its height. So we want to bounce, make it bounce more. So we can take it a bit more up, and let's again play. Now you will again see the ball bounced and it will again stop the ground. So that's how you can add the bounce to your Unity objects or any other objects from the you, your scene. Now coming to the next scene, next thing, how to make this ball, how to make it count, like how many times the ball is bouncing. So to do that, we will need a custom script. We need to create a C# script. So the C# monster. Let's get in the C# monster, but let's make this ball bounce infinite time instead of just one time. So to do that, we can do like bounce combine. There is bounce combine option. We can make it maximum. Suppose we made it maximum. Let's see how it's performing now. Now it's bouncing like a maximum. It will keep bouncing in that position for maximum time. Cool. Now let's add how many times this ball is bouncing onto the game and show onto the UI. So let's do that. First, we need to create a C# script. So right click, then go to the create, then there is C# script. Once you click that, it will show add a name something. Whatever you add name here, like bounce counter, it will show that bounce counter into the C# script. It will add that name to as your class in the C# script. So now let's get to the basics of C# script and see if it's really that difficult or easy to understand. Now to open the C# script, you can double click on that, and if you install Unity's default option, then it would have installed Visual Studio for you. And when you double click, it will open up the Visual Studio from where you can edit the C# script. You cannot edit from this inspector. You need a third-party editor from where you can edit. So you can either use Visual Studio. If you want to use some little memory application like Visual Code, you can do that from, if you click on this Unity option, or if you on Windows, you can go to the file and select preferences. Then Unity will show up this little pop-up. From here, you can change your external script editor to Visual Studio Code or Notepad++ or anything you want to use for. Now, once the Visual Studio opens up, let me zoom in a bit. Zoom in. Cool. Now, this is the C# scripts template, which when we create any C# script into the Unity, it will give you this template. So what this using does is it's adding some default options from Unity engine and the C# engine. So you can use that pre-built options instead of creating your objects. So we'll get into the some built-in options. Then there is this public class and bouncer counter. So bouncer counter is we added while creating that file name. But what is class? So the class in C# is a container. You can say like container, or you can say it like masala ka dabba. Like onto the masala ka dabba, there are multiple ingredients inside of that dabba, which you can use like haldi, then lal mirchi, etc. So the class, so masala ka dabba holds the small ingredients for making the vegetables or any other things. Same on the class contains little ingredients which you can hold onto the that class, so you can use it on your game. So the class does basically the work of organizing the little things into the specific organized way. Now inside that there are these two options. What are these? So these options are called methods in C#. So the methods are like whatever you want to execute will be executed onto the method. So the class is container, and these methods are whatever you want to execute onto the scene. Like we want to count how many times that ball is bouncing. So we will use one a method that will make that happen. Now what is start? So start is like a Unity's default method which will always run when we hit that play button. So now whenever we hit this play button, the C# script will the Unity will execute this start function or function automatically. We don't have to call it anywhere. It will automatically run. Now let's see if it's actually doing that. To do that, to check that, we can do is like debug.log and add like start run. So what is debug.log? So debug.log will basically print anything you add onto this angle brackets to The console. So where is console window? You can click on the window from Unity, click on the window and go to the general and select the console, or if you already have, you can click on this console window. So this console window will help us means debug the C sharp code from third party or our own custom scripts. We can debug. So here we added the debug.log, that is start run. So whenever we hit the play button into the Unity, it will should show this method of start run. So let's see if it's actually doing that. So it's not doing that. Anyone knows why it's not showing up that? Now it's to do with the same thing what happened with the bounce. So bounce,
Is not
You are not connected with the ball.
yes,
It's
exactly,
You
correctly.
need to attach it to the.
Perfect. Nice answer. So exactly what we need to do is the project window has nothing to do with whatever is happening into the scene. So we need to add projects items to the hierarchy or scene window, so that way it gets executed actually. So having this project here, a C# script onto the project, when you hit play, it will do nothing with this script. But if you add these scripts on any game object, so like this component, the C# script, whatever C# script you create are components. So you can add those component on any other object, like you can add it on the sphere, you can add it on the camera, or you can add it on the directional light. So let's say we add it on the sphere or camera. Let's go to the sphere and scroll down and click on the add component and type your script name like bounce counter, or you can as always drag and drop this onto the this game object. Let's enter bounce counter and it showed up bounce counter. And now let's hit play button. Let's see what's happened now. Now, if you go to the console window, it will show you start run, which we added on this start method. Now there is second method that is built in is update. So what update does is, so if you look at here onto the console, it's just ran one time. It's just when you hit the play button, it ran the start run. But let there are some objects, there are some custom code which you want to run every second or every frame onto the scene, like continuously run, like checking for the high score if target is achieved, or checking for the network, etc. That thing you will do onto the update things. So how to do that? So let's first debug that if it's actually doing whatever we are hoping for. Update running. So what update will do is it will run every frame. So what is frame? Frame is like millisecond. It will run 60 times in 1 second. So it's constantly looping the game. So whenever we add that script onto the game object, and if you hit play button, let's hit play. Now see the debug is constantly showing update is running. Why? Because the update method that is built into Unity, we don't have to create that. It's built into the Unity which runs every frame, and one frame is 60 seconds. So if you look at the counter, it's constantly increasing every second.
Durvesh, I have a question.
Yes.
Will it impact our performance if we are if we are writing a script in the update method, which is running every frame?
Yeah, so depends upon the what code you are writing. So if we are using the debug.log onto the every frame second, then if you run it on the Android or iOS, then it will impact your performance. But if you are adding normal loop like moving or checking for the true or false in the bool or something like that, then it won't affect that much. You can add thousands of updates from multiple scripts and it won't affect your performance because you are optimizing that code first. But if you
Okay.
add like debug.log every second, then game will start to lag or some high-end AI or something like that stuff. But for normal
uh,
tasks like counting for the bowl, counter, etc., it won't affect that much.
Okay.
can we create infinite illusion of the loop?
Like,
Like we added some frames and the frames repeating itself constantly. in a infinite loop.
As in, any example you want have?
Okay.
So let's see. Let's see. We'll go to the update again one more time. So with better examples soon. But before that, let's get to the basic. So now next thing is, so we saw the class is like container. So if you want to add anything, small things which should get execute or should have a storage, then you will add it on inside the class. And class has the methods. But what other things class can have? So the class can other thing have is the variables. So what are the variables? So variables are like a contain, you can say like a storage. So class are container, methods are executioner, and the variables are like the storage. They are the memory point. Like you see the update is running this debug.log, but we don't know how many times it's running per frame or per seconds. How to check that, how to store that counter, you can use the variable to store how many times debug.log is running. So to create that variable, what we need to do is we need to count how many times the debug.log is running in the update to count. So it's a counter. So what is counter? We count it in the numbers. So we need a number as a variable. So to create any variable, there are just this simple syntax. So this forward brackets are for the comment. Let's see what's the syntax of the variable. First you will add the type, like what type it is. So we want to count the debug, how many times debug.log is running. So so this is a type that is number. So the type can be number. Now we need to name that storage, like C# script should know what storage you are calling for. So this, we can use like a debug counter, and then you can add the end curly braces. We can add the semicolon, not the curly braces. Curly braces are these. We can add the end semicolon to end that variable, to end creation of variable, or you can give the default values, like you can add the equal to and 100. So you can give the built-in default value like debug.counter is 100. And when you start do the counter, it will start from the 100. But we want it from the 0, so we can add 0 here, or we can remove this and it will set the default value to 0. So let's get to the actually creating the debug counter variable. So we wanted the number. So what are numbers? So numbers can be the normal like 1, 2, 3, 4. Then number can be in the decimals like 1.001, 1.004. Like decimals can have. So there are various types of number. What type we currently want is we want normal number, like whole number. We want integer. So to create a number, we will add the type int, because we just want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How many times debug is running, and we will add the name. This name can be anything like debug counter X or anything. Then we can add the semicolon or equal to 0. We can do both thing. Now there is equal to. What is equal to does is whatever is inside right side of that thing will get assigned to the left side. So equal to has 0 here. So 0 will get assigned to the debug dot counter, the debug counter X. So see actually, so let's see if it's actually doing that. So to check that, again we can add that in the debug. So debug.log. Now we added the string here, like last time update running or start run. We can check for the what is the value of this variable. To check that, you can do debug.log and type that variable like debug.counter. You can do debug counter X. So it will show whatever that variable's value into the printable console window. So let's add it here, suppose 10, because 0 is default. Let's see if it's adding 10 to that debug. Let's see if it's storing 10 value into the debug counter X. Now let's hit play. Let's make sure we added the script here. Now let's see the example of component. Let it load, because when you add script, it will load. Then let's remove this component from here, and if we want to add it on the main camera, we can add, like click on the add component. Then you can go to the project window and drag and drop here, or like click add component, add bouncer counter. Now we added the bouncer counter. Let's hit the play button. Now let's see if on the console it's showing 10. So what is 10? So we created the default variable debug counter x, that value as 10. Now if we change to 100, it will show 100. But what we want to do is we want to check for how many times this update is getting run. So we will get to the debug counter x, and we can't assign equal to 10 or equal to 1. So what this will do is debug counter equal to 1. So every time the update will run, it will store the 1 value to debug counter x. So whenever the debug update is running, it will show 1 value. So we added the default value of 10, but we changed that 10 to 1 here. So that way it gets override. So now debug counter x value is 1. Now how to show it into here? So we can do like colon, we can add debug counter x directly, or we can combine strings and integer to make it more meaningful, like update is running, then add end the string, then add plus to concatenate string with the integer or any other variables. You can add plus and then type debug counter x. So now what will happen is it will Unity will merge this update is running with whatever the counter we have set up. Actually, that variable is storing. Now let's see what is the debug console window will show. Let's stop the scene. Now if we clear the console window, look at the console window, what it will show. So it's showing update is running 1. So every frame it's showing update is running 1, and it constantly looping that scene, that script. Now what we want is we want to update this 1 every time the update is running. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So how to do that? So to do that, what you can do is like there are multiple ways you can do. So first easiest way is like debug equal to. So we know by now we know that whatever is right side of this equal to will get assigned to the left side. So we can do is like debug dot x. So like 1, so existing value, previous value 1 plus 1. So 1 for when the debug.log gets run first time, it will, what is its value? So its value is 10. So to 10 plus 1. So to avoid confusion, let's remove it and set it as 0. So the first value will be 0, and 0 plus 1. So what is 0 plus 1? 1. Now next time when update is running, it will again check what is debug counter's existing value. So it's 1, and then it will plus with 1. So now it becomes 2, and this constantly will loop. So what C# script does is it goes line by line, like 1, 2, 3, 4. It goes line by line. So whenever update is running, it will first check for the line 22, and it's showing debug counter x equal to, and whatever is right side of that will get assigned. Now debug counter x, so same like debug.log, it printed its value. It is printing here 1, then 1 plus 1 gets 2, and it will constantly loop. Let's see if it's actually doing that. Now when we hit play button, you see it's showing 30, 34, 45. It's constantly looping, and whatever is here 70, like if we pause the game now, the loop will start. Now update is running 100. So 100 frames have been passed so far since we played the game. Now the other way, simplest way, which every game developer or programmer uses is, instead of doing this like double things, you can remove this plus and just add plus equal to 1. So now what it did is debug counter x plus equal to 1. So whatever is in the left side, combine with the right side and then assign it to the left side. So whatever is in the left side. So what is in the left side? 0. First frame is running 0. What is on the right side? 1. So 0 plus 1 is 1, and let it assign to the again to the whatever is in the left side. So debug counter x, that variable gets assigned as a 1. Now next time when it's running, it will have a value of 1. So whatever on the left side, that is 1 plus equal to with the right side. So 1 plus 1, that is gets 2 and gets assigned to the left side. So always right side gets assigned to the left side. So the plus equal to will assign count, do the addition of left side and right side, and will assign it to the left side. Now if you want to do like minus, you can do minus, you can do multiply, you can do division, whatever the basic arithmetic you want to do, you can do here. Now let's first check if it's actually doing plus equal to 1 and giving us same output like before. Let's hit the play button. Now once C# loads that are new changes, it will start showing again same output whatever we had before. Now 95, 94, whatever we had, it started to show. You can do same thing like if you want to add minus, then instead of plus, it will go to the minus. So 0 from minus, so -1, -2, -3, that thing will happen here. Let's hit play button again one more time. On right side, you can see the C# unit is loading the scripts, and once it loads, it will show -53, -57, etc. things. So yeah, that's the basics normal of C#. Like public class is the class is the container. Whatever you want to store little things, you will store it onto the class. The whatever you want to execute, it will be into the
Methods,
methods exactly, and whatever you want to store will be in the
variable.
exactly perfect.
Durvesh, what is
Yes.
mono behavior?
What is saying? Okay, mono here. Let's get to the that. So class can extend other classes. So you see there is bounce counter. Now if we remove this, we can so whenever if you now creating normal C# script, then it will have this syntax like public class, and inside that there will be methods and the variables which we can store the data, where we can store the data. Now C# offers the a class extends functionality. Like what mono behavior does is it will add the default, like we added, you see we added the using and using system dot collection using unity engine. So this added the default unity's default built-in scripts like rigid body, then sphere collars, etc. scripts onto this using. And what we can do is we can make our components same, like we can extend this class to use make it sphere collider, we can even make the rigid body. But currently what we want to make is we want to make it a component. We don't want to make it sphere collider, rigid body, or normal class. We want to make it a component, so we can add it onto the game object as a component. So each component has a mono behavior. So what mono behavior does is it's a unity's default C# script which makes any C# script a component which you can use it onto the game as a component based system. So now if we add the mono behavior, so what it did is it's created its bounce counter a component. So we can add it from here to the our game object, so it gets executed. Now let's see what happens if we remove this mono behavior. Now if we remove this and press save, once the load it loads, now you see it's giving the error. And if you click on the main camera, it's not showing you that C# script which you created, and it's giving error. Why? Because the what mono behavior is, you can add, it makes the C# script or any custom script a component which you can use onto the game, add it onto the game objects. Now if you look at the project, it still has bounce counter and it's still showing your code, but you can't drag and drop onto the script, or you can say you can't add the script because it's not a component. And the unity is component based system to make it plug and play. Like you can remove this rigid body and add it to the camera and it will act as a rigid body. So we want to make our bounce counter a component, so it gets added into the game object, any other game object where it will constantly loop. So that to do that, we extend class. To how we can extend class, we can add the colon and add mono behavior. Then there are other advanced stuff like we can add the our custom other thing, like if you want to create an inventory management, then you can create that base class and add it onto the extend to bounce counter. So the mono behavior is a base class which subclass like bounce counter is extending from. And C sharp, what C sharp is, you can only extend one class, you cannot add something other class here, it will give the error. So you can extend any one class at a time, and you can do hierarchy of class extension, but you can only extend one class. And the mono behavior does is it creates the component for the unity to add it onto the game object.
Got it. Thanks.
Perfect. Okay, so again, let's go through the overview. So classes are the container, and each class has a variables which stores the value, and each class has a method which executes. Now coming to the bounce, how to calculate the bounce counter. So currently if you hit play button, it's saying giving you this error. Why? Because we removed that monobeer base class last time, and now Unity doesn't know what it is. So to again we need to remove this script from here. Then again add the bounce counter. Let's see what's the error will be. We click on this. We added the bounce counter. Now we hit the save button. Now Unity will add that extended monobehavior class once it loads. Now if we click on the add and bounce counter, we made it a component script which we added. Now when we hit the play button, let's see what's happening. Now it's constantly looping. So this script has nothing to do. So update has nothing to do with when ball is bouncing. So it's just bounce like says one time, but till that time update has ran hundreds of time. So it's showing multiple values. But what we want to do is instead of update is running 278 time or minus 88 time, we want to do is how many times ball is bouncing. So how to do that? Let's get into the it. Now again, just to go through that, the scene window is for the editing purpose. Whatever we want to edit, we will use the scene window to edit things, like we can move the objects and do anything with that. Then we can rotate object. We can use these other tools to rotate and scale the objects. Then there is game window. It is act as a emulator, like Android emulator. It will show whatever it will show how it will look onto the device. It will show here. Then there is hierarchy. Hierarchy is like list of all the objects present in the scene. Then there is project window that act as a bridge between the game Unity world to the outside world. You can import outside objects or you can create custom scripts. And then there is inspector, where you can edit that particular game objects or particular objects values, game objects or the objects. Cool. Now let's see how to count how many times ball is counting. So to do that, click on the Unity script. Now we have this script bounce counter onto the main camera, but we want to see how many times this ball is counted. So to do that, we will create one more script and let's name it a bounce. Let's see let's give it a ball's name. Once we create a script from here, it will automatically add that ball script to the project window as well. And if we click on the sphere,
Deepak, can you please mute yourself? Thanks.
cool. So we have the ball script got added to the Unity that inspector from on the sphere. So now ball is also a component like bounce counter, sphere, collider, rigid body, which we can add out to the any game object. But what we want to do with ball script or ball component is we want to count how many times ball is bouncing. So how to do that? So first it will again show up the default template like class, which are container, then method which gets executed. We can delete also this container, this method, we don't want that. But what we want is we want to count when this ball touches and bounces. We want to count we want to increase the integer from 1 to 2 to 3, etc. So how to do that is it's pretty simple into the Unity. So Unity also has doesn't only have these two built-in option like start or update. It has hundreds and I think over 500 built-in methods which you can use, which gets executed automatically. So first thing we want to do is we want to know when the ball collides with the plane, because whenever ball collides with the plane, it bounces. So whenever this ball colliding with the plane, it's bouncing up. So we want to know when ball count colliding with the plane. So it gets we want to increase that time. How to mute this source. Cool. Now let's add the default built-in method that is on collision enter. Now if we type on collision enter, it will show Unity's default on collision enter. And it will be a void on collision enter, and inside that there is something collision and there are curly braces end bracket. So it created a one method, and method have we can add like update and loop start. It has created our default method custom. It's not a custom, it's a built-in Unity's method that is on collision enter. So what it will do is whenever this script, so suppose this ball script is attached to sphere, so any other physics object that sphere gets collide with, it will trigger that script. Now let's see if it's doing actually that. Let's add again debug. Let's accept debug.log. Is it colliding? Now let's save and hit play button. Now if you look at the console, update is running again. We don't want update is running, so we can see if this is it colliding is running. So how to comment this? Just add the two forward slash and it will comment that line. So the debug.log counter will constantly increase or decrease whatever we added here, and it will not show that debug inside the debug.log, so it will not come up here. Now let's hit the play again. And when Unity loads, if it loads, then whenever you see the ball is colliding with the plane, it is saying, is it colliding? Is it colliding? Because it's colliding with that plane, and whatever we added in the debug.log, it showed. Now, if we zoom into the scene view, you can see whenever the ball is colliding, it is giving that debug.log. But now what we want to do here is, instead of just showing debug.log, we want to increase the ball, how many times the ball is hit, how many times that ball is bounced. So how to do that? So it's pretty simple. Instead of, what we did here is we increase the counter whenever the update is run. So instead of doing that, we want to update the counter whenever ball is colliding. So to do that, we can create a one variable like same here and add the bounce counter. But let's get more advanced and say we want to increase the variable onto the bounce counter from the bounce script. So how to do that? So let's first create a one variable int bounce counter increase, or let's add the high score because it's a high score onto the game whenever ball is ball is bouncing. So we added the created the one int high score, and let's reference it to the ball script ball component. So bounce counter high score gets increased. How to do that? So what you can do is, first what we need to do is we need a reference to bounce counter. And how to get a reference to a script? To get a reference to a script, we will create a one storage. What is storage? It's a variable. And what variable does it? It stores whatever value we put into that variable. Now we don't want integer because this bounce counter is not integer. What is bounce counter? The bounce counter is whatever the class name is. So bounce counter is bounce counter. And we can name it like bounce counter, and we want to reference it. So we cannot do like new bounce counter. So the new mono behavior cannot have the new keyword. So if you already familiar with C#, you might be knowing that the class can be created with new bounce counter and it will create a class. But let's make it easy, and what Unity does is we cannot create new for mono behavior, but we want to reference this bounce counter. How to do that? So to do that, we will add a public little magic variable, magic attribute public. And what it will do is, now let's save the public bounce counter. The bounce counter is the type of this bounce counter script from where we want to increase the high score, and we named the bounce counter whatever we want. Now once we saved, let's look at the what Unity scenes Unity shows after it loads the script. Let it load. Now the Unity script has loaded. Let's collapse this. Now look at the bounce ball component, what it's showing. So it's showing bounce CTR, the variable we created, and it's showing the none bounce counter. Like sphere collider, it had the none, and we drag and drop bounce component to it. Same what we can do here is, like, we can drag and drop the bounce counter, this variable, to hit this one. So now where is bounce counter? It's onto the main camera. If you look at here, it is bounce. It has a bounce counter. So two ways you can add. You can drag and drop here directly, or you can click this little dot icon and it will show all the bounce counter component on the scene. So we have onto the main camera. So we will select that. Now our variable has this bounce counter storage, bounce counter reference. Now what we want to do is we want to increase this high score. So again, what we need to do is we need a reference to high score. And how we can get a reference to high score? We can call this bounce counter here, and to access any properties inside of this class, we need to add dot. So what dot will do is whatever this mono beer or whatever this class does, it will show all the properties. Like if you click here, it will show broadcast message. Let's admit. Okay. If you click dot, it will show broadcast message, cancel, invoke, compare, tag. But if you look at the bounce counter, it's not showing those methods or these variables. Why? Because it's in the mono behavior. So whatever in the mono behavior and whatever in the bounce counter will be shown whenever you click the dot. Now what we want is high score. Now we will type high score. But if you see here, it's showing hide flags, but there is no reference of high score. Why? Because this is a private variable. So whenever we don't add public, like we added the public here, now say we comment this code and we remove this public from here. Let's see what unit it does. If you look at here on the right side, once the script gets load, let it load. Now the script is loaded. If you see on the ball, it's not showing bounce counter, but our bounce counter, our script has bounce counter, but it's not showing onto the Unity inspector. Why? Because it's a private method. And what private methods are? It's private methods are just for that specific component or that specific script. It can't be referenced outside. So to reference it outside, we need to make it public, and then it will show up here onto the Unity inspector. Now if we again save and once the script gets load, and if it gets load, it will show that bounce counter again with that same reference because the variables always stores the values. Now we want to reference this high score. So how to reference that high score? So we will again add public out, outside of this integer variable. So now that integer variable is public. So this bounce counter can access this high score, or whoever referencing this bounce counter will have access to bounce that high score. Now let's again uncomment this. And now if we type high score, you see there is hide flags and there is high score. Now we got reference to high score. Now what we want to do is we want to increase this counter whenever ball is bouncing. And how to increase counter? We already learned. We just add plus equal to 1. So whatever on the right side gets assigned to the left side, and because it's plus, it will combine whatever on the left side, that is 0 first time if it's running, then it will combine it with the right side, that is 0 plus 1, and then it will assign to the left side, that is 1. Now when again ball collides with the that physical that plane, it will again 1 plus 1 left side plus right side, and then it will assign to the left side, that is 2. So that's how the counter will start increasing. Now let's see if it's actually doing that. And to do check it, how we do check, we add it into the console window. Now let's add, is it ball bounce? Let's add the string like ball bounce, add space, then how to concat string, we add the plus, then copy this like bounce counter dot high score. Now that high score will be shown onto the console window. Now let's see if it's showing. Once the script loads, okay, cool. Now we need to click hit play button to load any objects onto the game scene. It won't directly show or indirectly run. So to do that, we hit the play button. Now when the ball bounce, you see the ball bounce 1, ball bounce 2. So whenever ball is bouncing, it is showing its high score, that is its counter, how many times the ball is bouncing. 5, 6, then 7, etc. So here it's showing the ball counter, but if you run currently, if you run the game, if you suppose build the game and show it onto your Android or iOS device, it won't show you this counter because this console window is just specific only for the Unity debug, like Unity editing. If you want to edit or check the things like how it's performing, you will use the console window. But what we currently want to show do is we want to show how many times ball is bounced onto the game scene, so our users can play it and check it actually onto the device. So to how to do that, like as always, when you how we created a sphere, how we created a plane, we want to create a one text object so it shows onto the game scene. How to create text object, we click on the right click on the hierarchy, or from the menu bar we can click on the game object. There is UI object, click UI. Then there is multiple options of UI. So what UI is? UI is the user interface, and we want to show user interface a text user interface. So we will click on the text component game object. So whatever we click created here is the game object, and whatever inside the game objects are the component. Now we created the text object, but it automatically created the canvas. So to render the UI objects, there is always a canvas which Unity adds by default. So whatever the UI objects are there will get render onto the devices. Now the text is created. What we want to do is we want to increase the counter, like bounce one time. But if you look at the window, game window, where is it? So it's on the bottom left, but we want to show it on the top center. We, as we saw earlier, we cannot directly drag and drop it above. We need a scene window to edit those components or game objects. So to how to edit the text component, move it up. You will double click on the text, and then to go, you will click on this 2D window. So Unity gets into the UI mode. Now you can pan game objects, like you can click on this little hand icon and you can pan the scene window, or you can click on this object to move this. But there is one more option here, that is this rect tool. So what rect tool is, it's specifically for the UI objects to move things or edit things. You can do anything. Now we want it on the top center, so we can move it above, and this rectangle, white rectangle, is showing how big is the game or game scene is. So we'll move it up. Now you see the top window is on the top side. Now let's adjust its properties some. Let's make it a center. How to make it center? We can change it from the inspector, like make it center. You can change its size, whatever you want. Now let's see how it's looking under game scene. Now game scene is showing this. So what? How if you build game now, it will show bounced one time, and the game will start running. Now let's hit play button and see what's happening. Now if you see ball is bouncing, the console window is showing bounce 1, bounce 2, bounce 3. But this UI object bounce one time, it's static. It's not changing. Again, what we need to do is we need to change this object. How to change that? So there is component, and what component has is they has a storage, that is variables, and they have a methods, and whatever into the inspector is a variable, that is storage. Now this storage or variable name is text, and it has having the bounce one times. Now what we want to do is we want to dynamically change this text to whatever how many times the ball is bounced. Let's mute. Anyway, let's go to the Visual Studio script. Cool. Now what we want is like how we change the bounce counter high score by taking reference. We want to change the UI object text. This is UI object, which is text. So we know that by now that this rect transform is a component, this text is a component. And what are components? Components are the C# script. And what its C# script name is, its C# script is text. C# script name is text. So we want to edit that script, like how we took the bounce counter reference here from public and it edited this high score. Same, we want to edit the text component. So we'll take the public, we'll add the text, but it's not showing the text variable here onto the Unity. You can see text alignment, text anchor, but text is not showing. So to do that, we need to add one namespace. that is using. So whenever we enter namespace, it gives us default values from the packages. So Unity editor is one package which has hundreds of script including mono behavior, same for system collections and generic, etc. So what we want is we want that text. So we will do is unity engine.ui. So whatever UI objects we want to edit, we will add the using unity engine.ui, and then we will do public text equal to whatever name we want to add, like bounce admit, cool, bounce text. Now again, how to take reference, we will make it a public, so it shows up to the inspector. Let's see if it's showing up. Now where we added script, we added to the sphere ball component has a bounce counter, and there is one more option of bounce text. So we again need a reference to that text. So how we can do is we can click on this dot, or we can directly drag and drop this text component to this reference. Now that ball component has a reference to bounce text. Now what we need to do is we need to edit one variable that will change this text. And what that variable or storage name is, its name is text. Like same we have name bounce text, bounce here. This name is text, so we can edit this. So we will again do same thing what we did here. Instead of debug.log, we'll comment that, and we will take the reference to bounce text dot text. That high score is a variable onto the bounce counter. Same bounce text is a component. So bounce text has a component text which we can edit. So what we need is we want to add this script bounce ball bounce, and how many times we will show that. Now let's see if it's actually doing that. Now let's hit play button. Now see ball bounce 1, ball bounce 2, ball bounce 3. Console is not coming because we commented that line. But if you look at the UI, it's increasing whenever ball is bouncing. Ball bounce 6, ball bounce 7, ball bounce 8, etc. So yeah, our little ball bounce game is ready. Like we created one script which counted how many times ball is bouncing. We are showing that onto the UI. Ball bounce 1, 2, 3. Now how to make it an actual game and make it an APK or iPhone file or etc. How to do that? So there are option in the Unity. Click on the file and there is build setting. Then it will show up one this little window, and on the left side there are platforms. So what are platforms? There are 17 to 21 platforms in the Unity which you can develop game for, like iOS, Android, PS4, Xbox One, etc. Hundreds of other 17 other platforms. So same what we want to do is we want to make an Android game. So we'll click on the Android and we will hit the switch. It will take some time. So if you want to create a Mac or PC build, you can click on the build, and it will basically make a script, make a build for the PC or the Mac. Let's mute people. And if we type text, it will do it will whatever we want to name, we can do, and our game will be ready. And whatever is showing onto this game window will show up on that build. Now let's see if you want to edit some things, like we want to add a logo or anything. Then we can do is there is project setting option. How to mute. Can you guys mute, please?
Can you hear me?
Yes, chat window, mute all.
Hello.
Yep, hello, can hear you. Yep, please unmute and speak again because something noise was coming. Cool. If your question you can ask meantime. Yeah, so there if you click on the player setting, so file build setting, then player setting, there are option like company name. You can add your company name. Product name is like whatever is showing, like Ludo King or PUBG. You can add your own game name here and it will show up there. Then there is default icon. So default icon is like logo of your, you can select here and this logo will come up onto the scene. You can click select and it will show all the Unity UI objects presented onto this project window. So this image was presented there and some default object. If you want to add logo, you will right click, import new asset, and you will add the logo. Same if you want to add the splash screen, like if you start the PUBG game or Instagram, then it's showing that one splash screen at the start, then the actual application or game starts. So how to do that? We can click on this splash image icon, then we can click on this plus icon and select any your splash screen. Now let's see what happens when you hit preview. So first that this window will show up and then actual game will start. So you can change it duration, logo duration, how many times it stayed, etc. from this project setting. Now if you want to make game like PUBG like landscape mode, you can do that from this resolutions icon. If you are on Android platform, it will show landscape, portrait, and other two options like portrait downs or landscape down. So you can select those options. So that way yeah, like if your phone is on the horizontal way, it will get game. If you want to game to be on horizontal like PUBG, you can do that. If you want to make your game like Ludo King like vertical mode, you can do that from there. Landscape and portrait. Portrait is vertical, horizontal is landscape. So that way you can do that thing. So yeah, let's go through the basics one more time brief. So scene is like editing things. If you want to edit any things onto the game, you will use the scene window. There is games window, that is you can see it's like a emulator. Whatever is in the game scene window will be showed up on the game view, and it will show up onto that same way. It will look it under the your devices. Then there is hierarchy. It shows list of all the scene objects. There is project which act as a bridge between the outside world to the Unity world, which you can drag and drop. Then there are components we can remove, add. You can add rigid body physics. There are hundreds of other components which you can go through from here. And then there is physics playable, etc. things. Then there are project settings, like you can add logo, you can add company name, etc. There is inspector for each game object, from where you can add components or you can change component properties. Then you can edit screenshot script, like class is there. Class is container. Each container has a storage and the executioner. The storage is like a variable which you can create, you can reference. Then there is a executioner, which are method which gets executed on whenever you want. So that's the basics of C# script and the basics of Unity engine. So that's about the secret one. Now let's move to the secret two. So secret two is the 7 things I learned from the last 7 years that can help you fast track your game development journey. So the first thing is select a game engine. Let me mute.
Can you hear me? I have questions for you.
How to mute, whatever. Yeah, okay, cool. Mute all. Rohan Banerjee, thank you. Okay, so the first is select a game engine and stick to it. So there are, like, if you see, there are hundreds of game engine like Unreal, Unity Engine, Game Maker, Buildbox, and yes.
Rohan wants to ask something.
Yeah, we'll get to the question and answer after this. We
Okay.
goes to our basics and all the materials. So the first mistake, so the first thing I learned from the 7 things that I learned from the last 7 that can help you fast track your game development journey. First is select a game engine and stick to it. So I see a lot of beginners start like which engine to is, like Unity, Unreal, or Game Maker or Buildbox. There are hundreds of, they get confused like which I should use. So I will see there are 2 best game engines on the platform: Unity, second is Unreal. Both can do any using any game, one engine from Unity or Unreal. You can do any game like PUBG or Ludo King or any game you can use. If but you need to select only one game engine. You cannot select Unreal or you cannot select Unity and both. But you need to select one game engine and stick to it. You will make any type of game from Unity or Unreal Engine. And if you are from India and if you want to get jobs in the game development company or anything, the Unreal is not Unreal. The Unity is more preferred because a lot of big top Indian game development companies, including ours, uses Unity only, not the Unreal. So the more job opportunities are into the Unity engine, and it's quite easier and big communities out there. Then second thing is don't be jack of all trades. Like if you want to be in game development, there are 7 to 8 fields like 2D graphics thing, there are 3D things, there are animation, there is modeling, then there is coding, there are various other things like game testing, game designer, etc. Professional things are there, but you need to select one what you want to do. If you want to be doing coding game development, just select coding, don't go to into the graphics. Hire someone else or be collab with someone else. If you get into the job, you there will be other 3D designer or 2D designer. You don't need to be master of all. Life is too short to learn every other things. all the fields are like ocean. There is a lot of things inside of that things to learn. So select only one thing and get master of that, so nobody can touch you for that particular thing, and you will be master of that. The third is build as many as games. So if you're just starting out, then build as many as game. Don't coming to my that first dream game, I took 2.5 years to develop that. We are four people team. We took 4 years to develop that, 2.5 years to develop that game. And it was not commercial success. It was like, yeah, it's quite looking good, it's quite good, but people were not playing that much because it didn't have the retention. So build as many as game. Don't go for the dream game. Like every game in developer start with a dream, I will make that big game and my life will be settled, or I will be famous or rich. But that the reality things is not that way. If you look at the Android Angry Birds game, it was their 51st game. Before that, they built 50 games to get that success of 51st game. So always, so Unreal Engine is joining Epic Games. Cool. So the build as many as games. So you will have a portfolio. You will get good at polishing games, because it's one thing to develop normal core, but it's other thing to actually release game. Because while releasing, you will know that there are some things that you polish and your skills, and you get good at that skills. Then fourth is identify trend. So instead of searching for your dream idea, go to the top 10. So there is, if you look at your Play Store, there is one option of top charts. Go through the top charts daily, or top 100 games, and see what are the new entries into the top 100. So that way you will know, okay, this one particular thing, particular game is actually trend coming into the trend. So you can model that game and make your own commercial success out of that. So identify daily trends, and you will know what actually your users are playing currently onto the Play Store or App Store. Fifth is play competitors games. So there are things like, if you are actually starting your game development company, then you will think, hey, I don't want to play other competitors game, because they will get revenue from that or all other things. But actually play other competitors game. You will know what's working for them or what is lacking in that game, and you can model, or you can get rid of that thing from your own games or from your future games. The sixth is get in the shoes of player. So like Crossy Roads, what Crossy Roads developer did is, he created one avatar of one little 12-year or 16-year-old girl, and he wrote down things like, hey, what this girl will like. So she will like simple casual games, she will like this, she will that. And from that, he developed that Crossy Roads game. So always get into the shoes of player, and create one avatar of one particular player, like what he will like instead of what I will like, or think what he will like, what that personality will like, and then create a game particular for that player, and there you will get a lot of success from that. So always get in the shoes of player, so you will know what type of game and what type of features to add into your game. Now, seventh thing is daily write down 5 ideas. So go through top charts, then identify play competitors game, identify top trends, and write down the avatars of various users, and write down 5 ideas on what type of game you want to create next, and write down 5 ideas. Even if you're not getting, keep writing 5 ideas daily, and after 30 days, you will have more than 2000 or something, that type of ideas onto your list, and out of that, you can start developing few games from that. Now coming to the secret tree. So the secret thing is one of the biggest mistake every game developer do, and how you can avoid it. So first and the biggest mistake every game developer do is, like how we already went through, is that they start with the big idea and they fail miserably after years of developing that. So always start small, create first. If you are just starting out, don't spend more than a month for your first 5 games. Don't spend more than a month. So take a small games that can be developed within 3 or 4 weeks, completely polished, just not normal core loop, completely polished, and spend a month. Don't spend more than a month on developing those games. Means each game should be developed within 1 month. So within 5 months, you will have a 5 games which you can showcase and make a good portfolio out of that. So those are the 3 secrets. And let me ask you a few questions. But before that, if you have any questions, you can ask now. You can unmute yourself and you can ask the questions.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
My question
can't hear you effectively.
now.
You can type onto the chats. We can go through the chats. Mm, chat window. Okay, chat. Ideas about I do 3D graphics. Yeah, Nishar, if you are doing 3D graphics, then stick to 3D graphics. There are a lot to learn in 3D graphics. Don't get into the program if you don't have passion for it. You will get a good jobs and start your own things as well in the future. How to get in the job in the game industry? So if you create 5 games or multiple games, you build your portfolio, and then I will share with you cheat sheet after this masterclass that will have a step-by-step guide that get more detail into the how to get job in game industry. Then how to change controls from keyboard to mobile control was my question. So you can do that easily. There are default Unity feature options which are quite advanced. It's not for the basics, but yeah, there are like if input dot key code that space is there, then Unity will run its space. If you want to do, there are touch face controls are there which you can use for the mute, yeah, for the mobile inputs, etc. How to make 3D graphics and real-time game. You can do that easily. You just need to import 3D materials and models and into the Unity project window, and from there you can add it on the scene, and you can use your custom C# script codes, or you can use default custom codes, default components to make 3D games, etc. How to make a game like PUBG from, can we make up games like PUBG from Unity? Yes, 100% you can do that. Pokemon Go game from the Unity only, was from the Unity only. How Assassin's Creed is also from the Unity. How to publish my self developed games? You can do that. You can click on the build and you can release on the Play Store, App Store, etc. There is, you can create 20, you just, for Google there is $25 fee for one time, and you can release unlimited games on the Play Store. Call of Duty and Free Fire made with the Unity. Yeah, Call of Duty, I think the 2013 version, not the recent which is popular, but yeah, it's in the Call of Duty is also from the Unity. Java programming works in Unity. No, it's only C Sharp is supported, but Java and C Sharp transition is quite simple. What classes are Java classes are in their JavaScript as well, same in the C Sharp script. If you know JavaScript, within the few days, if you learn basic syntax of C Sharp script, you will know how to do the coding. How to publish my indie game? Same, you need to click build button from Unity and you can release on whatever platform you want. So I do graphic designer. It will help in game development. Yes, graphic design is quite a need of the era. How to publish my game in Play Store? You need to create a account, developer account onto the Play Store. From there you can do that. There is play.google.com/apps/publish. From there you can subscribe to their account. No game supported, only C Sharp. C, yes, only C Sharp is supported for the Unity engine. Unreal supports C++. If you know C++, you can transition to C Sharp easily. I am 3D modeler and I want to make and to know more about games. I want to make games. So 3D modeling, if you are in 3D modeler, then I think I will suggest focus on texturing also, because people, there is a combined script skill of modeling and C sharp. Texturing is quite need. So if you do texturing plus modeling, then you will have a more opportunities as well. But 3D modeling alone can also do a lot of things and you will get a job easily. How to release? I don't have any collab with studio. What do you mean studio? Visual Studio? You can release, just you need to click on the build button. Like we look at the Unity, you need to click build, then switch to the Android, then switch platform, then there will be option of build. Click the build button, then it will give you APK onto the file manager, which you can do. Cool. Now let's go to the, I use Maya and Substance Painter. Substance Painter is quite good. Maya is excellent too. People here and my company also using Substance Painter and Maya and Blender as well. Blender is free, so that's a good thing. Depth study of game. In-depth study of game. Okay. How can I play for publish? How can I pay for publishing my game? So to publish game, what you can do is you can go to the play.google.com/apps/publish, and from there you can click the, if we go to the incognito mode and add apps instead of app, Google Play Console will here you register, and then they will ask for $25, that is around 1,500, quite cheap, and then you can release unlimited games onto Play Store. Now let's go to the how to make a GUI like Candy Crush. Yeah, you can make a same how we create a text, you can create a GUI for that game. Now what is the other thing? Can you make Discord server for game jams? Yeah, we have a good Discord server. Game jam. Yep, we can look into that. Which game language do we have to learn from game development? For you, if it depends on the engine what you are selecting. If you are selecting Unity engine, then it's C sharp. If you are selecting Unreal, it's C++. Give some tips to joining game industry as game tester. So for game tester, start learning about how get under the shoes of the players like we discussed, and you will know what how to do testing. Like you will know, okay, if this particular user will love this game or not, how if the is the retention of game will increase from this user flow or from that user flow, etc. Except C sharp and C++, you can use game maker language. Then there is, I think, build box, which is drag and drop, but it's quite pricey. Then graphics like PUBG, can we make using Unity? Yes, graphics you cannot make from Unity. Unity combines graphics, so you need a Blender or Maya to make graphics. Which location have more game development jobs? Everywhere. Mumbai has a lot of game development companies. Bangalore also has few. Then Delhi also has, but there are now remote companies like ours. Ours is completely remote company, 100%, and our all employees are remotely working for us from all over the world. You told about 5 simple games for 1 month only. For 5 simple games each month, so 5 months, 5 games, 1 month each game. So there's those games can be quiz game, then the normal Ludo game, 2D games or normal 3D bowling games. Those kind of games you can, but polishing needs you need to release, so you will know polishing, because you can create a normal loop and you will say, okay, game is ready. But if you start to actually really get into the release, then you will know, okay, there are tons of things remain. Blender I'm using, I'm confused UI of Blender. It's quite easy. Blender, just search for few tutorials, you will get it. Any games like Subway Surfer, there will be like your, yeah, Subway Surfer is from Unity as well, and yeah, it can be made from Unity. One more question, sir, that is this game and VFX industry is good or bad? Is there future for us? Yeah, there is future. Send your Discord link. Yep, sure, WhatsApp group will share. Unity certificate is worthy or is it affordable? I would say HR. If HR is non game development, then he will look like, okay, he has a Unity certificate. Then that HR will give the more preference. But startup studios, like who are actually developers hiring for the game, other game developers, then they would not look at the Unity certificate that much. But if you are going to the top companies, they have HRs which are not, who are not from the gaming industry, then they will see like Unity certificate is more worthy for them. In future there will be more craze. Yo, in gaming in India is booming. How cost has make PUBG like games? You need a good team in India. Yeah, you need a good team. How can I add score limit in Unity? You can add a different variable which will compare against that. Like we created high score, you can add one more target variable and it will compare that score if high score is more than the target score. Because gaming industry growing in most in India. Yeah, what is your opinion about Glacier engine? Glacier engine, as said, don't look out for the new engines or the various engine, just focus on one, Unity or Unreal, both will get the job done. And most of the game development in companies in India won't be using Glacier engine for sure. How to earn more in this field? By getting the job or releasing your own games. Cool. Now let me ask you a few more questions. So do you think if you get someone who can walk you through weekly step by step on game development, then that would help you fast track your game development in journey, like someone like game coach or someone who can walk you through step by step weekly? Do you think your game development journey will fast enough? What do you think? You can type onto the chat. Yes, yes, cool. Now, do you think if you understand Unity engine, just Unity engine and C Sharp, and get master of that, and Unity engine, you can build any other game from Unity engine, then do you think you can able to make your dream games from Unity engine? No
No.
doubt. Perfect. Yep. And the last question, do you think you can just give 1 hour a week extra, 1 hour a week extra to master your game development skills? Awesome. So I present you one game away challenge, OGAC. So what is one game away challenge? So the one game away challenge, what we do is we go from idea, design to development, C sharp, and to release game. So we will go from idea, how to select your game idea, to how to release game from that one game away challenge. So it is a 10-day live coaching program worth 60,000. That's not the actual price of that one game away challenge, but it's worth 60,000. So in 10 days live coaching, we'll go through every weekend. We'll go through live from basics of Unity to C sharp, like we will go through it now. We'll go through 10 days. It's a 10 days live coaching where we'll go from Unity 3D beginner to advanced course. So what that course will contain is we will know how to use Unity 3D, make any type of game. We'll know what are the component based system, what are rigid bodies, what are colliders, how to trigger collisions, and lot more there in the Unity which we'll learn. Then we will learn scenes, asset management. We will know animations in Unity. We will go through UI canvases, making them mobile friendly. Everything there is in the basics to advance in the Unity. We will go through that live weekly. Then we will go through hero. First we will go through 10 days live coaching. Then we will go through Unity beginner to advanced course. Then we will go hero to zero in C sharp. That is worth 19,500, not the actual price. So what that course will contain is like what is C sharp variable classes, methods, and other types of things, like how to learn C sharp for game development and how to get mastery in C sharp, so you can do anything inside the Unity and make your games live. So first we will go 10 days live coaching, then Unity 3D beginner to advanced course. Then we will go hero to zero in C sharp. Then there is certificate of completion. After your one game away challenge overs, we'll give you certificate of completion.
Hello,
Yes,
Durvesh. Why it says hero to zero, not zero to hero?
hero to zero. Yeah, that's the typo, which good catch. So
Okay.
it will be zero to hero, not hero to zero, obviously, of course. But yeah, good catch. Then bonus one is one-on-one unlimited questions. You can ask on the live or outside of the live. And then there is bonus to how to find publishers for your games, which is priceless. I will show you personally how to find publishers for your game. Like if you go to the top charts, there is Voodoo, Lion Studio, and there is Tap Games, other game development studios from the world. How to make your game so they hire you for how they get deal for you. And the third and final bonus is get paid internship at the Green Light Studios. We are the fastest growing game development company in India with over 15 employees and over 10 game developments games to our name. So first we will go to 10 days live coaching worth 60,000. Second, we will go Unity 3D beginner to advanced course. You will master of Unity 3D. Then we will go hero to zero, not zero. We'll go to zero to hero worth 19,500. Then we will go to certificate of completion. Then there is bonus one-on-one unlimited questions you can ask. We'll show you how to find publisher for your games. And if you are doing well, then we can hire you for paid internship in Greenlight Studios. So how much do you think it will be actually priced? Any idea into the comment box? You can put your price, how much it can worth and how much you think it will price. Okay, 50K one is saying how much you think? Anyone? 5,000, 80,000? Cool. So 10 days live coaching, Unity 3D beginner to advanced course, zero to hero in C sharp, certificate of completion, one-on-one unlimited questions, how to find publisher in Unity games, get paid internship in Greenlight Studios, will worth only 1,990 for today only. You can click this via link or you can Paytm or Google Pay for this number. I will drop the link into the chat so you can do the payment. Go dot Durvesh Nike / go dot game engine. So I will drop a link into the chat so you can register for now. Entry in the hotel free, but food is not. Food is not. You learn basics of Unity today. You learn C sharp basic free. Let me know if it was valued or not. But yeah, Now, if you want to get on this challenge, it's just worth now 1,990. It's just a 1 day hotel stay or 2 day 1 day hotel stay at 3 star. You can waste money there, or you can join this course. You will get 10 days live coaching from me. You will get beginner to advanced in Unity 3D. You will get zero to hero in C Sharp. You will get certificate of completion, which you can use for your portfolio. You can ask unlimited one-on-one questions. You can do I will show you how to find publishers for your games, and you can get paid internship in Greenlight Studios. So if you want to join this one game challenge, you can register now on this durvesh.nike.com/go/game challenge. You can pay there, or you can Paytm, Phone Pay, or Google Pay me on this number, and you can do that thing. So yeah, this offer is for today only. And if you have any questions regarding this course, then please ask. Anyone has any questions? Can I run latest Unity engine to dual processor? Yes, we will get to that questions. But if you have any questions regarding Unity, you can ask that. Udemy also gives you a certificate. Yeah, but it's not live. A lot of people ask, you can do recorded sessions and you can put it on Udemy, but only 2% to more than less than 2% people only complete any course. So that's why I'm doing live. So that way everyone will be accountable from the students, and everyone actually learn, instead of you go to the Udemy, you will have hundreds of courses on your cart, but you won't go through that. Only 2% people does that. Paid internship, how much you will pay if you are doing good? So it depends upon the what you are doing, and how many months you are doing that for. But yeah, paid interns are anywhere from starting from 4,500 to many more than that. Range 4,500 to 25,000. I was developing an endless run, now working with my keyboard. Nice. So if you have any questions regarding course, please ask. Then we will go to the technical questions. I sent you a question on WhatsApp. Please, you can privately send here as well. You can just need to click instead of everyone. You can select my name and tap payment link. Let me drag and drop onto the chat box. I sent again in the chat box. You can click that link and pay. It's a Insta Mojo. You can pay from Phone Pay or anywhere, or debit card from there. So
Can you
it
send
just
the payment link to WhatsApp group?
yeah, I will drop onto the WhatsApp group. So you can type this. Yeah, so 10 days live coaching. I will share the link on the WhatsApp group. So 10-day live coaching, you will get 10-day live coaching from me weekly. Then Unity 3D beginner to advanced course, zero to hero in C Sharp script, not hero to zero. Then certificate of completion, one-on-one unlimited questions, how to find publisher for your games, and get paid internship in Greenlight Studios. So if you think it's worth more than 1 lakh, and if you're going to only get paid for 1,900, just 2,000, that's a 1 day hotel stay at 3-star hotel or 5-star hotel. You are going to get that. Can you do a giveaway of the course among the audience? Yeah, we'll think about that giveaway as well in the future. Rohit will get to the technical questions shortly once the course question get answered. So anyone has any other question, or if you want to do Phone Pay or Google Pay or Paytm, you can do on this number 9029950835, or you can click on this link to pay.
So, Durvesh, everything will be covered in 10 days?
So on the 10 days, you will go through all the basics to advanced stuff in C Sharp and the Unity. So you will have full confidence on creating Unity 3D games and how to make games, etc. So we
Okay,
will go from idea to development to release state.
in 10 days.
Yes, 10 days.
Okay.
I was making an endless run. Yeah, we'll go through the technical questions. If you have any other course related questions, you can ask in the questions. So one last time that we will go through this one game away challenge, 10-day live coaching from me, Unity 3D beginner to advanced course, where you will go from beginner to advanced, then hero to zero in C Sharp script. Oh, it's moving. Then zero to hero in in the Unity C# script. So for you will have full confidence how to use C#. You will get rid of C# monster, and you will know how to make game in Unity 3D and update anything, modify anything using C#. Then you will get certificate of completion. You can ask unlimited one-on-one questions like you are asking, or you can outside of that you can ask. Then you can do how to find publishers for game. You can get paid internship in the Greenlight Studios for just 1,990. Total worth is over 1,20,000. All right. So if you are interested, you can do. Meantime, I will get to the technical question. Is AMD Ryzen 5 and 3000 with 4 GB? 8 GB RAM is minimum required for, but 4 GB is good as well. You can start with that. You don't have to update. You can update later, after a few months. Don't invest money if you have good config like Ryzen 5. I was making an endless runner, need a bit of guidance like changing controls from keyboard, finding publisher studio. Yeah, we will. You can. It's a quite a big question like how to change controls from keyboard too. But you can search for like touch face controls in Unity. You can get that answer, or we can go through that in the course. Then finding publishing studio. That yeah, we will go through that in the course, how to find publishing studio and how to crack a deal with Voodoo, Lion Studio, or any other studio. Mobad, yeah, Mobad, exactly. So yeah, this is the course price 1,990. We will go through all this material into the course, and one last time I will drop it in the chat, so you can pay from there, or I will after the masterclass will drop it in the masterclass WhatsApp. So anyone has any other questions? Anyone? Anyone has, you can ask in the here, or you can ask in the chat how the payment works in Play Store. You can ask, you can payments, and you will get paid if depends on number. No, you depends upon how many ads. So there are two ways to get paid into the Play Store. One is free, that is where you will add mob or other ads into your game, or the other ways you make the game paid, or you can add in-app purchases like Clash of Clan or something like that. You can add in-app purchases on your game, and you will earn from that. But the advertisement said it's free course. It's a free master class which we already went through. You learned basics of Unity, you learned basics of C#. We learned how to do things in the Unity and C#. But if you want more advanced stuff, then I invite you to one game away challenge, where we'll go through 10-day live coaching, Unity 3D beginner to advanced course. We will go through zero to hero in Unity C#. You will get certificate of completion, one-on-one unlimited questions you can ask. Bonus 2 is how to find publisher for your games. Bonus 3 is get paid internship in Greenlight Studios. So yeah, that was it. Thanks a lot for this slide. It was informative master for you. Welcome, Gaurish. Digital marketing and passes. What do you mean, Rohit? Thank you for the classes. Vangel, you welcome, Sana. So yeah, that's it. And if you have any questions, you can ask personally on the WhatsApp group, or you can ask in the Discord server. Cool. And if you don't have any questions, I will stop these slides and we can exit from the presentation. Anyone has any questions?
Yeah, Durvesh, you said something about cheat sheet in the beginning.
Yeah, the cheat sheet I will share on the WhatsApp chat. So we are attending, I will personally send them those cheat sheet. Just ping me on WhatsApp. I will drop a link to that cheat sheet. So it's just for whoever attended.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yep, you're welcome. And that's it. See ya, guys. Bye bye. Thank you everyone
Okay.
for attending, and see you on the one game away challenge.
Yeah.